Today we're talking about a fun subject, I think, and I think you think it's kind of fun too because you are in our group, which is very focused on French learning and just the different intricacies of that and what it looks like. A lot of you are parents, you have children who are studying French, children who you want to study French and will be studying French in the future. So why not get those keys, get those tools while they're in it, before they're in it, and you'll be able to support in the best way you know possible. So today it's all about vocab, French Vocab 101 with me, Elise Beckles. Listen in. Okay, so today we're kicking things off knowing that French vocab is so complicated. How exactly are we supposed to study it? What would I say is recommended in order to study it and it to be effective? So the first point I want to share today is about studying French with audio. Have any of you ever tried that before? Do you see some of your little ones maybe having some audio sometimes to go along with their learning? Well, I am in full support of that. We definitely use audio for our French learning and for vocab especially. It's pretty important. So many students, vocab's not easy, right? It's a whole new language. It's an alien language. And very often memorizing French vocab, that's really what it comes down to. You have to memorize it, okay? However, we've found that students can remember French songs easily, right? Because learning a song is much easier than learning the dictionary. And the first technique that I'd like to just reinforce to learn French is study French with audio. And you can do that by finding several audiobooks and playlists online. And you can also record your voice during the practice and can listen to that audio later. So even for our adult learners or parents sometimes who want to be supportive along that journey, there's so many tools out there. There's many YouTube videos if you're looking for good pronunciation of something that you can find and just go through that exercise. You will learn that there are, bite-sized pieces that you should probably do this in. And when you find that you're sounding a little more like the person repeating it, then you're probably good to move on. But just don't underestimate the power of audio. And for vocab, I would definitely say that is an effective method to retain for sure. Okay, repetition is key. This is definitely not a new fact, but it's one definitely worth mentioning when it comes to French, because with French vocab, consistency and repetition are crucial. Okay, so we're recommending that if you're looking to have your child, your student, really learn new French words, your brain will store them in its short-term memory. And only if you don't repeat, right? And the only way that you're going to be able to retain is by that constant repetition. And a good time per day that we would recommend would be 15 to 20 minutes daily. And that has proven to be more effective than just taking a full 2 hours of continuous study. So it is almost that whole slow and steady wins the race, one step at a time. 15, 20 minutes, it really isn't anything too overwhelming for our primary students, for our beginner learners. 15, 20 minutes out of your day isn't much, but it will require that consistency, even setting an alarm, even marking it in your calendar, telling Alexa, telling your Google, hey, please remind me, it's 15 minutes, it's French time, okay? So those little things, that's making the difference. Thirdly, get to the roots. So this is another useful way of increasing your power of learning French vocabulary fast. Here's the idea of this technique. Okay, get to the roots. Memorize words that share the same root at the same time. Here's some examples. When you're learning the word écrire in French, okay, and that means to write, you can also learn the word écrivain which means writer, and l'écrire, which means an act of writing. So that example is just showing that there are the root of each of those words are founded right back to the word écrire, which means to write. So this is something that when our more immersion, more French first language students may be introduced to sooner than later. But for those who are looking to embark on the language, or perhaps your students now feeling a little bit stuck in their French learning journey, never be afraid to get back to the root of the words and have them look for those similar patterns across the different words that they're learning. So where do we start with French vocab? And I get calls all the time from parents. I get calls all the time from, even especially during this time, a lot of people looking to learn new skills or try something new. And they say, Elise, how fast can I learn French? How do I start? Where do I start? And my answer is always the same, in that you must get down to the basics. And that, in our world, is the French alphabet. And, sometimes from an adult learner, that can be a little bit, it does feel super elementary, but it's the basis. It's something we fully stand behind. And we do not move on to another lesson until our students can master saying the alphabet. That's where it all begins. That is what you need in order to even embark on this journey. So what this example on this slide is showing is what I kind of mentioned before. So knowing what the alphabet is, in another space, there would be an opportunity to listen what that sounds like. And here it's sort of spelled out how it should sound, how it should be said, just to guide you, that prompt to really go for the letters as they're supposed to be said. So I thought I would go through some of these words with you today for some of the parents who perhaps are seeing maybe the alphabet, maybe words with the alphabet in it, and taking a stab at it sometimes hasn't been your forte. So let's go through the alphabet, the French alphabet together, okay? So A is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Okay, so if you're looking to have a stab at some of these and, even take it back to some of your little ones later saying, okay, I know how to say the H or H or en français, that'll be a major point for you there, impressing them, for the parents in here who don't speak French. So that's the French alphabet. And that's where we have to start because, like I said, without having the bare minimum foundation in the language, there is absolutely no point in you moving forward. So there you have it, the French alphabet. In our teaching, like I said, the way that we best, I would say, teach vocabulary, and the way that us and the way our minds work understand vocabulary, is being able to associate the everyday with the new language you're learning. That's totally how we lay out our lessons. So another example here would be the days of the week. So you have to know the days of the week when you are going through French learning, because that's kind of a basis. You have to know how to write the date. We have a tableau, we have a board when we're growing up, and Madame and Monsieur would always write the date. And that was also part of your retention. So Madame or Monsieur writes the date, you're writing the date, and at the same time, you're also learning to say the date. So these are all things that are hand in hand, the writing, the saying, the understanding, okay? So on the slide, we have lundi, which is Monday, mardi, Tuesday, mercredi, Wednesday, jeudi, Thursday,